I want to suck your blood. Hi guys, welcome to a video, and in today's video I'm just going to be listing what I think are the 10 best lesbian vampire films and shows out there. Now, content is a little thin on the ground, it is, but I've done the best with what I have. That's the tagline for my life, okay. If we had an abundance of halfway professional vampire lesbian productions, some of the choices on this list perhaps would not be choices. I'm just saying. Also, over half of this list is made up of productions adapted from the 1872 novella Carmilla. Now, I'm not sure if this is just because that book is in the public domain and it's already established, so 2 and 2 equals 4, or if it's because there can only be one lesbian vampire. Who knows?
So, at number 10, we have the 1936 film Dracula's Daughter. This is a sequel to the 1931 film Dracula, and as the title might suggest, it's about Dracula's daughter who seeks out the help of a psychiatrist to try and rid herself of her vampiric thirst for blood. However, she soon finds herself wanting to turn him into one of the undead too. I rather enjoyed this film. Both the vampiric and the lesbian elements are portrayed in a subtle manner, very much rely on suggestion, but I found this just added to its charm. Whilst the film is not explicitly lesbian, there's no mistaking the lesbian subtext, and I've included it in this list because it's the first Hollywood film to portray a female vampire who preys on and desires female victims. It's also an interesting production to watch if you're interested in the history of cinema, the horror genre, or early depictions of lesbian desire in film. At number 9, we have the 1971 film Daughters of Darkness, about a newlywed couple who encounter a mysterious and beautiful countess whilst passing through a vacation resort. Now, this film is rather violent, erotic, and very much a product of the 70s, but it's beautifully made and the countess alone is worth watching the film for. Oh, she is divine. However, I should give a disclaimer that the film shies away from showing anything explicit where lesbianism is concerned, and the erotic scenes are predominantly heterosexual, but the film doesn't shy away from the fact that the Countess is, without a shadow of a doubt, an evil lesbian seductress from beginning to end. So this fact alone gives it a place on my list. Just about. At number 8, we have the 2019 film Carmilla, loosely based on the 1872 novella of the same name, and it's our first adaptation of Carmilla on this list. This film is incredibly atmospheric and aesthetically pleasing, but the acting and dialogue do leave something to be desired. Overall, it's not the best adaptation of the novella, but it's certainly not the worst. And if you're a fan of Carmilla or just lesbian vampire films in general, I would say that this one is worth watching, and it's also one of the 3 productions on this list to have a female writer. And it definitely shows through the direction and lack of overt hypersexualization and heteronormative romance being a focal point. Keeping in theme with questionable adaptations of the Carmilla novel, at number 7, 6 and 5 we have the 1970s Karnstein Trilogy from Hammer Films, which is made up of The Vampire Lovers, Lust for a Vampire and Twins of Evil. Look, these films are a lot of fun, and what you see is really what you get. Camp horror and naked women. From an entertainment perspective, these films are great to watch, but as an adaptation of the Carmilla novel, they really have nothing in common with the book, except for the names of the characters. Still, what it lacks in its ability to reflect the themes and the essence of the Carmilla novel, it makes up for with breasts. At number 4, we have the 2022 Netflix series First Kill, about a teenage vampire who falls in love with a teenage vampire hunter. It's like a supernatural Romeo and Juliet. Now, the show itself is not high art, and That's putting it nicely, but the relationship between Calliope and Juliet is brimming with so much chemistry that almost everything else can be forgiven. What I like about this show is it offers a fresh take on the figure of the lesbian vampire. It doesn't vilify her or treat her romantic desires as predatory. It fleshes her out instead of portraying her as a two-dimensional monster. So First Kill stands out from other productions in that way, and it also stands out because it's one of the 3 productions on this list to include female writers. And hey, whilst teenage supernatural shows are nothing groundbreaking, one which centres around a lesbian relationship certainly is. At number 3, we have the 1960 film Blood and Roses, which is yet another adaptation of the 1872 Carmilla novel, and I have to say, possibly one of the best adaptations on this list. I really have a soft spot for this film for a multitude of reasons, one of them being that the film is bold enough to portray a sapphic romance within the confines of what was acceptable to show at the time, and another being how it embodies the essence of the novel it's adapted from. Blood and Roses is a romantic, tasteful visual delight and offers an intelligent retelling of the 1872 Carmilla novel. At number 2, we have the 1983 film The Hunger, about a strikingly beautiful vampire Miriam and her lover John, who has been led to believe he will live forever. However, he soon undergoes a living death, and Miriam finds a new partner in a young scientist called Sarah. However, Sarah does not warm up to the concept of vampirism, and this causes conflict between the two. Look, this film really is a visual masterpiece. It's tastefully dark and erotic. Susan Sarandon and Catherine Deneuve are stunning, and their characters have chemistry which could cause a forest fire if they so happen to make eye contact near a forest. Whilst a lot of lesbian vampire productions are similar and tend to regurgitate the same themes, The Hunger gives vampirism a makeover which makes it refreshing to watch. And at number 1, and I'm sure most of you saw this coming a mile away, we have the 2014 Carmilla Web Series and 2017 Carmilla movie. This production is yet another adaptation of the 1872 novella Carmilla, but unlike the other productions adapted from the book, this one is not only a completely fresh take on the novel, but it's a fun one too. The web series didn't have the biggest budget behind it. In fact, the first season was filmed on an iPhone, but that's a testament to how entertaining this show is, because you really do forgive the production quality because of how great the content is. This series is punchy, it's engaging, and most importantly, Laura and Carmilla have a lightning in a bottle type chemistry which is hard not to be fascinated by. I love what this series did with the source material and how they reimagined characters from the novel in a modern day setting. Carmilla is also one of the 3 productions on this list to include a female writer. Much like the other 2 productions on this list to have female input, perhaps that plays into the refreshing reinvention of the lesbian vampire and the portrayal of her romantic desires.
Okay guys, let me know your favourite lesbian vampire productions down in the comments section below. If you're a lesbian, if you're a woman who enjoys female vampires, come and join the Sapphic Underground Club. Just come and join it. You will be supporting women's voices, even if said woman might be a vampire. Don't forget to subscribe for instant disappointment, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.